Hi, I'm Donna Jordan from Jordan Fabrics. I've picked out a pattern I would like to make today, and it's called Sugar Cookies, and it's done using charm squares, and it looks really fun to make. And I asked Matt to pick out some fabrics that would look good in this pattern, and he has those down in the workshop, so let's go take a look.
Hi again, everyone, and welcome to our studio. Come on in. Donna has picked out the pattern, and today we're going to be using some 5-inch squares, also known as charms in our business. And I have a pack over here I'm going to show you. These are from Hoffman Fabrics, and it's what they call Blossom, and there's 40 5-inch squares in here. And we have something laid out over here on the table, some colors I picked out of coordinates that I think look very nice with the pattern Donna picked out. Let's take a look. So this will be our background for our charms here. And this green part here is going to be our green here. And I picked out these two colors of Moto Grunge that I think go excellent with the reds and pinks that are here, and also coordinates well with the blues. I think this is going to come out really nice, Donna.
The first thing I need to do is pick out which of these charm squares we're going to use. There's 40 in the package, and the pattern says we only need 32. So I'm going to make sure that there's good contrast with everything. There's a couple of really light ones. I might not use these two because they just are not going to show up very well against the background. So I'm probably not going to use those, even though they're beautiful. And I might not use one of those. Maybe we'll take one of those out, take out a pink. So I'm just going to selectively pick out ones that I think we have too much color of. There's quite a bit of pink, so we'll take a couple of pinks out. And then we're going to iron all these up flat, because they were folded in the package. We are going to iron the background fabric and iron the fabrics that we need for this part, and then we will get everything cut. Then we can start the sewing, because that's really the fun part. I have all of the pieces cut out. This was a really easy pattern to cut. All of the sizes you need are in the pattern. Now, this is not my pattern, so I can't give you all of the sizes, but the directions are very clear. We needed some big squares, some little squares, some triangles. I cut some of these in half and then cut some triangles here. And then we have borders. Very simple. Now we can start sewing. We're going to make some half square triangles. The easiest way to do it is to mark the back of your lighter square, and you can use a pencil, you can use a chalk pencil. This works well. You can see how worn out it is, but just a faint line right across the middle there. And you can mark all of them ahead of time if you like, or one at a time. So we are going to take these two right sides together, one print and one solid, and we're going to stitch 1/4 inch away from that line down one side and then back up the other. My presser foot is 1/4 inch, so I can put my presser foot right on the line and stitch all the way down. And then you can just turn it around and go down the other way. So I'm going to do that with every square. Then we'll take them to the ironing board, give them a quick pressing, and we're going to cut right along that penciled line. Once you have all of your half square triangle blocks sewn, it's a good idea to give them a quick pressing, just in case those threads, the stitching pulls it up just a little bit. And it only takes just a minute, but it helps keep this nice and flat. So I'm going to iron them all. Then we're going to take these over to the cutting board. You can use scissors for this step if you like, but it's kind of a big piece. So I think this will actually be quicker with my blade. So I'm right along the pencil line, which is also right along the diagonal. So we're going to cut all of these in half, and then we are going to iron them with the seam allowance toward the dark side. So we're going to do that with the iron. And we're going to be real careful so that we don't distort it. So I'll show you exactly how to iron these flat. To make these nice and precise, I like to open it up and just press with my hands a little bit to make sure that it doesn't get distorted. If you just take your iron and open it up and press with your iron, it sometimes makes this seam curvy. So make sure it's flat, peel it open, and you can just feel that whole seam allowance the whole way down. Then press it. That will keep these going, the whole seam allowance going the right way, the whole way across. So put your light color on the bottom, peel it open, keep it flat, then press it. Once I have the whole stack done, I like to trim off the dog ears. Now the easiest way to trim these dog ears is to put them in a stack like this. Let me move the board over so you can see this better. And just trim it like that. Put another one down and trim it, another one down and trim it. Then turn the whole stack around. You can do this for maybe 20 pieces all at the same time. I don't mean cut them at the same time. I mean let them fall down, trim them off. Now they're looking really good. So I'm going to do this with all of my blocks. There's not that many because we only started out with 24 of each size. So we're going to end up with 48 nice half square triangles. I have all of the half square triangles ready to place into my triangle shaped blocks here. So I'm going to need 6. So I need 3 in one row, 2 in one row, and 1 in one row. So that's not quite as balanced as I would like, so I'm going to trade these around a little bit so that the colors are mixed up. Then we're going to fill in with some of these triangles. And I try not to be too picky about what fabric goes where because we have a nice blend, but I'm probably not going to want to get 2 of the same color right next to themselves. So I probably wouldn't want this pink right here. Now we are going to sew these into rows. We're going to make this row, and this row. Then we're going to sew those rows together, and I will show you how to do that. So I'm going to lay out 4 of this shaped triangle, and then with the same blocks, but with them turned different, you can see over here, we're going to make 4 of this kind of triangle. It's exactly the same thing, but it's got the print up here instead of in the corner, and we filled in with the light triangles. The easiest way to put this big triangle together is just to make 1 row at a time. So I'm going to sew these seams, and I'm going to press the seam allowances all to the right. Then I'm going to sew this row and press the seam allowances the other way. So they'll be alternating, and everything will lay nice and flat when we get the triangle done. Definitely easier to iron later on if you will finger press it right now. And then we will use the iron when we get the big triangle done. And this triangle piece, it's just the right length. We're just going to stitch it on. It's a little longer than this block, but that's because we're going to stitch 1/4 inch in, and it's going to come right at that intersection there. Next row is exactly the same method, but we will finger press the seams to the left. Now this row only has these 2 pieces, and we are going to press its seam allowance again to the right. Now we can sew all the rows together. So when we put these with the seams matching, the seam allowances are going to be laying in opposite directions, so they will nest, and it's real easy to match those intersections. Just about perfect. So I'm going to finger press this again with the seams going up. Now we'll sew this row on, and then that last triangle, and this whole triangle, this whole big triangle is done. They're really, really fast. Before I use the iron, I'm going to smooth this out with my hands, and be careful to smooth it along the grains, which would be this way, and not like this, because this cut is on the bias and it could stretch. But if you smooth it this way, you can feel your seam allowances are nice and flat. Then iron it. Everything will come out precise and flat. So I'm going to finish up 4 this way, 4 the other way, then we'll move on to the next step. I have all of the triangles sewn together. Now you can see these here. All we have to do is trim off these dog ears here. We are going to put these 4 with these 4 triangles. We'll make 4 blocks there. Then we're going to put these 4 with these 4 triangles. That'll give us 4 more blocks. Then we are going to mark the back of one of these big squares, and we're going to make 2 really big half square triangles. And then the last 4 blocks don't have any patchwork at all. So we are going to have 16 blocks, and it's going to be so fast to finish up this quilt, and I can't wait to see what it looks like. I'm ready to pick a thread to quilt this quilt in, and I was thinking I would do green, something that would match this background. But now that I've got it on the machine, I think I might do a blue or even a dark red. So I'm going to get out some other possibilities. I've got a number of colors here that might work, and you never know until you pull them out and put them on top of the quilt. Some of these blues, this one might work. All right, let's see what they look like. That would make a really nice contrast. It's about the same color red that we've got in the stars. That's really, really going to show. Now the blue would be nice. It won't show much in the patchwork, but we will see a little bit in here. And could do this nice rose. Actually, the rose is what I'm going to use. That's going to look really, really nice. And I think I'm going to do some flowers, maybe even some butterflies. The quilt came out really nice with a great big star in the middle. And such an easy pattern. So here's the blocks I was showing you. You've got the plain block, half square triangle, another half square triangle with the patchwork, another plain one. So it's really just 4 blocks by 4 blocks. I'm very happy with the quilting. I decided to go with hummingbirds, morning glories, and flowers because some of these batiks actually have a little hummingbird in them. So you can see the hummingbird somewhere. Here we go. He's upside down. You see the morning glories. And it really shows on this grunge. I love the grunge. It's got that little bit of color showing on the solider background. I used the navy grunge on the back side and continued with that rose thread so you can really see the quilting really well. It almost has a denim look, but with pink thread instead of gold. Pattern's called Sugar Cookie. Really easy to make. Only took 1 set of blocks for in here, 1 set of charm squares. Now, if you have extra charm squares, I thought it might look good with a patchwork border. I didn't think about it till after the quilt was done, but you can just take half square triangles and make a nice patchwork border to go all the way around the edge. So 80 more squares will go all the way around the quilt, and that would finish it up really nicely. I hope you enjoyed our tutorial today on how to make the Sugar Cookie quilt. I really have fun reading all of your comments and your requests for what quilts you would like me to make up next, so be sure to leave those comments for me. Happy quilting!